So I'm going to try and explain this as succinctly as possible. In a full understanding, I had nothing to do with designing this, but I merely sat in a room and heard somebody else explain it. So, let's say we're going to use this method for 2019. Okay, basically what this calls for is cross-riding voting. So every group of ridings is going to be set up into its own little sector. So for the purposes of this exercise, we have Guelph, Milton, Oakville, North Burlington, and Wellington Halton Hills basically grouped in this sort of proportional group. Now, we live in Guelph, obviously, so when you go to vote, you'll be given a ballot, and it'll come to you like this. It's actually this big. I mean, this is a demonstration, but I mean, let's say this is literally being used. So it's going to be this big, but it will be handed to you like this, and you'll note Guelph. This is the Guelph column. It may not show up on camera, but the riding you lived in will be shaded a little bit darker than the rest. So since we live in Guelph, it'll be folded Guelph side up and with the Guelph shade. Now, for the purposes of this demonstration, there are only 5 candidates running in the Guelph riding. And they were borrowed from the last election, so we have Gloria Kovac for the Conservative, Gordon Miller for the Greens, Cornelis Clevering, it says independent here, but of course he's the Marijuana Party, Lloyd Longfield for the Liberals, and Andrew Seagram for the NDP. Now, the point of this is to give you options. So you can just take this, the Guelph column, and just vote for your Guelph candidate. But in that, there are several other options. Now, let's say you just want to straight up vote for MP, just want to choose the person. Well, let's say it's Gord Miller. You can just put a little X next to Gord Miller. Boom, you put this in the ballot box, and you're done. But if you want to vote more preferential ballot style, again, just for Guelph, what you can do is you can put, let's say, your first choice is Andrew Seagram, so you can put a 1 there. Let's say your second choice is Lloyd Longfield, you can put a 2 there. And then you can order them 1 to 5, or you can just choose your 2 best or your top 3, or however you want to do it. Now this is where things get more, I don't want to say complicated, but more, let's say more involved. Now, we have the regional ballot, which means you can just vote for Guelph, you can vote for an MP for Milton, an MP for Oakville, and then Oakville, North Burlington, and then Wellington Halton Hills. The idea being this promotes proportionality. So, let's say I want to vote for 1 person in each. Well, that's possible. You can vote for Guelph one first, that's your number 1 pick. Let's presume for a minute you just want to vote straight across party lines. You can vote, just follow the Liberal column there, and vote straight across for the Liberals. You can put 1 next to Lloyd's name, and then put Dan Trant in Wellington Halton Hills as 2, and Pam Demoff in Oakville, North Burlington as number 3, and Azim Rizvi in Milton as number 4, and then John Oliver as number 5 in Oakville. Straightforward, you just vote across the party. But let's say, for example, you want to kind of mix it up a bit. You may think, again, purely for purposes of this experiment, Gloria Kovac in Guelph, she's a Conservative candidate, true, but you may have liked her years of service on City Council. You may think she would be a really great representative for Guelph and Ottawa. So she's going to be your number 1 pick. Your number 1 for Guelph, your number 1 pick overall. Like this is a draft, sports draft. But you put a number 1 beside Gloria Kovac's name. Now, you may be more aligned to center-left thinking, so you might be thinking, well, I kind of want Liberals to be re-elected. I want Justin Trudeau to stay in office. So you can then look over at, let's say, Milton, and then you can vote for Azim Rizvi in Milton. And that would be your number 2, and then, you know, maybe you want to just vote Liberal the rest of the way in 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. You can really mix it up, too. So you can vote for, you know, we have 5 sort of parties here. 5 parties, 5 ridings. You can choose a Liberal, NDP, Conservative, Green, and Independent. and just even it out that way. I mean, this is the thing about this, is that it fosters choice. Interestingly, you can rank all these people. There's 22 names on here because 3 of the ridings don't have independent candidates. So you can just rank all these names 1 through 22 as you like. So that's the ballot. I think the thinking is, when we're talking about this on Thursday night, was that a lot of people would vote for Guelph first, perhaps only Guelph, you know, in terms of people getting used to this system. But the idea is, it keeps the system of equal representation for ridings. Nobody's going to be redrawing any ridings. Every riding is going to have a representative, but it can still foster proportionality through this method of sort of regionalizing 4 or 5 different ridings. So that's the Guelph method, and in case you're just watching this video, only this video, you can go to guelphpolitico.blogspot.ca to read the rest of the article this video is attached to. And if you are very, very interested, on February 23rd at 7 p.m. at E-Bar at 40 Quebec Street, this is going to be presented to Lloyd Longfield, and people are invited to attend and listen to this in person, ask questions, and endorse as they see fit.